Elisha, why do you quit? Why do you quit watching porn? I mean, people tell you it's fun. I mean, there are many reasons why I quit watching porn, but the key reason why I quit is there are things I've always kept quiet to myself, but I think it will benefit the community of those that are watching this content. And there are those that I think, Elisha, what you're talking about will never happen to me. When I started watching this content at the age of 12, I never knew everything I've listed on the board, such as impacting my erection, thinking of killing myself, affecting my sexual orientation. These are the things that I never planned for at the age of 12. When I started consuming this content at the age of 12, I can guarantee you, I was having the best of time. I mean, the very first place I learned to jack off, I mean, the skill, people will laugh, it sounds funny, but the very first place I learned how to masturbate was with my friend telling me, Elisha, we've got a Playboy magazine now. The very first thing for me was, I was actually contemplating killing myself. I was actually contemplating this. You know, it got to a point whereby I said to myself, there wasn't a reason to be alive. I've done so much damage to myself to the point that when somebody walked up to me and said, Elisha, I'm going to give you a gift of £200 and I would like you to use this money to look after yourself, to buy food and put it in your fridge. When that money lands on my hand, the first thing that comes to my mind is, how can I pay for a stripper? Or how can I go and get a prostitute to sleep with? That was my life. My entire life was now consumed by this content. Now, somebody will say to you, Elisha, you are extreme. This will never happen to me. I wish I was told at the age of 12 that what will happen or what will transpire in my life in the next 13, 14 years would be me thinking of killing myself. There was a point I was standing on the platform. Then I used to live at Essex in England. And I was contemplating, you know what, I think if I could just jump in front of this coming train, everything will stop. The pain, the anguish will stop. The pain of extreme masturbation, the pain of contemplating acting out some of the behavior I've seen in the video, whereby I'm asking myself, if I act out this behavior, what will be the consequence of my life? That thought was so much in my mind. I was thinking, if I could just take the leap, everything will be over. Lost my erection. You know, my erection was totally dead. I remember at the age of 12, the very first time I came across this content, erection was quick. To have an erection was very simple. All I had to do was just watch a movie. But I realized something with my erection. As time began to, as I began to watch more content and spend more time with the content, something began to happen. My brain begins to get used to this content. People call it your brain gets desensitized to the content, meaning the content that used to give you quick stimulation can no longer give you the stimulation. The brain is used to it. The brain wants something new. So something that would have taken me 5 minutes to get erection was not taking me 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So meaning I was spending more time. I will promise, sometimes I will promise myself, you know what, I'm just going to come up quickly, search for the content for 10 minutes, jack off and go to bed. But what then later began to happen was I will land on the internet, say for example 10 p.m. and I will be there till 4, 5 p.m. still searching. Not only am I searching, but I can't even get myself an erection. I began to ask myself, is this life? How can you be on the internet from 10 a.m. to 5, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning? Are you not going for your lectures? But I was so consumed. Now, by this time, fatigue has kicked in. I'm tired. I wanted to sleep, help me out. That was what my life turned into. This one, getting confused with my sexual orientation. When I started watching porn, there were certain porn I like watching. There were certain girls I like looking at. And that was perfect with me. I knew that I liked watching women. I knew that's the kind of porn I like. There was a certain kind of shapes I like. I'm going to be very raw and direct. But things began to change. I first noticed that change one day. I was on the bus, on the red bus in England. We call it the red bus. And the thought came to my mind. I said, Elisha, oh, look at that guy. He's good looking. I'm thinking, oh, yeah. And so what? A thought came to my mind. I didn't think any of the thoughts. It always starts with a thought. So there's this store I always purchase my porn, and back then DVD. I got in there that particular day, that particular evening, and I was looking at stacks of different porn, and I'm a regular now. I've watched literally all the content, and the thought that came to my mind that afternoon said, oh, look at those porn there. I said, yes. He said, you can try it out. I said, no. I'm not interested in watching same-sex gay porn. That is not my cup of tea. That day began the most difficult part of my journey in my life. You might be listening to this thinking, Elisha, maybe your sexual orientation is same-sex. No, I'm no way in shape interested. Now is the battle in my mind. There was a constant battle now telling me, Elisha, come on, give it a try. You can watch guy and guy having sex. It's just a try. It won't hurt you. I said, come on, man. Nah. I'm not going to that journey. No way am I gonna be watching guy and guy having sex. It was like a tug of war in my mind. It was like anguish. I wake up in the morning with this thought, oh, Elisha, just watch it. You need it. I said, it's like I'm not fighting a battle. I said, I would rather kill myself than watch guy and guy having sex. I knew then this isn't normal. That was to me a cut-off point. I remember there were days, because then I used to live in what they call a council flat. And I'll be looking on top of because I used to live at the top of the council flat. I call it the penthouse. And I'll be looking for top downward that, you know what? If I could just jump, man, this thought will stop. This thought trying to take over my life will stop. It was a battle. I knew I wasn't interested in same sex. Guy and guy porn. It's not my cup of tea. But when you expose yourself to this content, you will start experiencing different thoughts as to kind of content you should consume. So when I say to people, they tell signs to know that things is changing in your life, that you are moving towards an addictive behavior, is to look at the content you started with initially and the content you are now consuming. If the content you started with initially has changed and the time you spend on the internet exposing your mind to this content has changed, I can guarantee you things has gone haywire. The next for me was my behaviors nearly got me killed. This particular story, one day, as usual, I wasn't doing anything. Rather than go to lecture, I would just lock up myself and just jack off to porn. There was this particular day, I haven't spent 4 or 5 hours watching. I stood up, I picked up my phone. I dialed. I called there's a regular prostitute I usually use. I said, hey, could you make sure you have the booking? You have your calendar cleared. I'm coming in today. Don't worry, I have you covered. I've got the money in place. I dropped the phone. I hopped onto the train. I landed in Soho Square. As soon as I landed in Soho Square, I headed straight to a sex shop. I entered the sex shop and I said to the guy at the counter, "Oh, could you please give me a drug that will make me last longer?" You see, I was consumed with what I've been feeding my mind. All I wanted to do was to act out everything I've seen. The guy pointed towards a particular spot. I took the drug. I never even read the label. I didn't even know what is written on the label or the content of what I'm about to take. I took whatever is in that tablet. And as soon as I took that tablet, that like a cocktail, I knew something was wrong. I began to get dizzied, and I staggered along the way, and I entered and I climbed, because there the prostitute I used to visit, regular prostitute, lived at the first floor. So I climbed the stairs, I staggered, I knocked the door. She opened the door. She asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm okay." She shoved me towards the bed. I lied down on the bed. She said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm okay." I never knew whether I had sex or not, but she knew I wasn't moving anymore. She asked me to stand up, that there are customers. You see, this is a life. You paid for sex, but there are customers waiting outside. I stood up. I walked down the stairs and began to stagger along the way. Along the way, there's the pub called Wild Cat or something like that. I held onto the pole, and the last thing I knew, bam, on the floor, I collapsed. By the time I knew what was going on, I was in the hospital bed. There was drips. There were doctors all over me. "Oh, why do you want to commit suicide? Why do you want to kill yourself? Why did you take poison?" I'm thinking, poison? I did not take any poison. I was having the best of time. I was trying to put things together. How did I got to this place? To the point whereby the doctors are asking me, "Why do you want to kill yourself, Elisha? Do you have should we call your parents?" I can't allow them to call anybody. I'm scared now. I don't want to relate. This is too much story. But that day was the beginning of worry for me, because I was acting out some behaviors that was no longer normal. I would walk on the street of Soho for hours, not knowing what I was looking for. You asking me why I quit? This is one of the reasons why I quit. I lost the use of my brain. Totally lost the use of my brain. My dad is late now. My dad asked me one question. He said, "Oh, why did you fail your first year exam?" I gave him many reasons. I said, "Oh, Dad, I was trying to make money, so I was getting more jobs." But I knew why I failed. I failed simply because I wasn't going to my lectures. I would rather lock myself up in a room watching porn, or lock myself up in the lab, because back then at uni we used to call it a lab. The lab is where you go in there and write your software and codes. But then we had the opportunity of the fast network of internet. But rather than studying, I'll be using my laptop to download gigabytes and gigabytes of porn. I lost the use of my brain. Ability to think, gone. Ability to reason, dead. Ability to imagine, dead. Then I started losing memory. When I'm having conversation with people, it seems I need the entire my attention, in order for me to be able to retain the information. And after the conversation, it seems I just couldn't remember things. I was getting worried. Why am I losing my memory ability? What is taking place in my life? Is this fun? There are days, I'm going to tell you this story. There are days I'll be on the bed begging for sleep, but I couldn't sleep, because the only way I knew to sleep is to depend on wanking, on masturbating. Without masturbation, there was no sleep. And so it ended up being sleep. Masturbating was the only way I could get myself to sleep. When I'm doing my life, I'm talking to young men and they're laughing. And they say, oh, Elisha, we are told it's a stress reliever. I'm telling you, so jacking off is the way you release stress. Don't worry. A time is going to come in your life, you'll be addicted to jacking off. And enough for you to sleep, you will have to jack off. Come and tell me that jacking off is a stress reliever. And let me know how you felt. Addicted to prostitute. I was addicted to prostitute. I mean, like I said, having sex with a regular girl even at uni, I had girlfriends, different girls, different color, but at the same time, I wasn't satisfied. I still have to be back on the street of Soho. I still have to be back to the street of Soho. Now I tell people, I'm a faith man, I'm a Christian man. When you get to the point of addiction, whether you like it or not, there's a point you become possessed. You know something is now taking control of your life. You are no longer in control. There are days I will cry that today I don't want to sleep with a prostitute. But the more I cry, the more I keep going for more. So these are the reasons why I gave up on porn. Those are the key reasons I gave up on porn. Number one, I nearly took on my own life. Number two, addicted to prostitute. Number three, it started affecting my sexual orientation. Number four, I lost the use of my erection. Number five, my brain cells were gone. And many, many, many more. My advice is for you to take time to listen and ask yourself a question. I might not be where Elisha is at the moment. What is affecting or what is taking place, what happened or what took place in Elisha's life is totally maybe unique to Elisha. And I could tell you you're right. You're absolutely correct. But when I started off at the age of 12 and 13, it was the best time of my life. It was a discovery. Many of my friends were lucky to stop. I wasn't. And there are some that will be listening to me now, and you're already 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. You know you needed to stop before it's too late. I hope this video will bring the transformation and the advice or the nudge you need in order for you to make and to take the right step. I'll see you in the rest of the video.